Who's on backup? If he doesn't come through.
I thought it was.
Okay.
I thought it was.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay.
We have a backup if we need it.
Okay. Yeah, anytime you hear Zoom, it's, that's the case.
And Lori, if Patrick's good to go, like you. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. It's 6 p.m. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. It's June 12th, 2025. It's our regular council meeting. Lori, can I get roll call?
Mayor Young,
Here.
Vice Mayor Sartori,
Here.
Councilmember Brandon, Councilmember Painter
Here.
via Zoom,
Via
and
Zoom.
Councilmember French.
Here.
Thank you. The invocation will be led by Councilmember Painter tonight, and I will go ahead and lead the Pledge of Allegiance on.
Kind of cut out there, but I can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. We're ready for
Okay.
the invocation. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Sorry I could not be there with you all tonight, but if you could bow your heads with me, we will pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to gather here tonight, surrounded by all of these wonderful people from our community, to give thanks and discuss the future of our village. Lord, we thank you for the abundance of blessings you have bestowed upon us, and we ask that you keep everyone in our village, especially our first responders, safe and healthy, and always provide us with opportunities so that we may provide opportunities for others. Let us strive for greatness in all that we do and remind us to always count our blessings. During a time with so much opportunity for our village, there's also a great deal of uncertainty in the world around us and so many challenges that we, as a country and a village, will inevitably have to face in the future. For that reason, Lord, we ask that you will be a beacon of light, our hope, and the rock on which we stand, so that we may glorify you in all that we do. In your name we pray, amen. If you could, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Don't get too close to it, because I think it's the gain is too much and it's cut out that way. So just talk right.
Got it. Okay. New technology up here. So. All right. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Our first presentation tonight is an annual overview by the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics.
Hi, my name is Gina Levesque, and I serve as the Intake and Compliance Manager for the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. Today, I'd like to share a little about who we are, what we do, and how we can be a resource for you. The Commission on Ethics was established in 2010 following a 2009 grand jury recommendation for ethics reform in Palm Beach County. Our mission is simple but crucial: to promote integrity in public service, build public trust, and ensure that private interests do not interfere with public duties. What sets our commission apart is its independence. We operate separately from other county or municipal governments, and our 5 volunteer members are appointed by independent organizations. This structure ensures fair and impartial oversight. provide oversight, accountability, and transparency for more than 12,000 public officials, employees, and advisory board members, as well as certain vendors and lobbyists throughout Palm Beach County. The Code of Ethics applies not only to county government, but also to all 39 municipalities, ensuring that public officials and employees act with integrity, independence, and impartiality, and that the public office is never used for personal gain. But our role is not just about enforcement. It's about prevention. We place a strong emphasis on education because we believe the best way to prevent ethical violations is to ensure that people understand the rules before they make decisions. That's why we provide ongoing training and advisory opinions to help officials and employees navigate ethical concerns before they become an issue. In fact, we've issued nearly 560 advisory opinions to date. While we do have authority to impose penalties such as reprimands and fines up to $500 per violation, our primary goal is to educate, guide, and prevent violations before they occur. We also ensure transparency by making all advisory opinions, gift forms, voting conflict forms, and complaints publicly available on our website. At the Commission on Ethics, we encourage everyone to remember one simple phrase: ask first, act later. If you ever have a question regarding the application of the Code of Ethics, please reach out to us before making a decision or taking an action. You can find resources, request training, or contact us by visiting our website at palmbeachcountyethics.com or by calling 561-355-1915. Thank you for your time, and most importantly, thank you for your commitment to ethical governance. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I've also left my business card with each of you in case you would like to reach out. Thank you.
No comments, thank you.
Yes, no, thank you for what you do with the commission.
Yeah, thank you for everything you do. It's a very important role you guys play in our county. And I really appreciate this booklet. I say I always carry it on me. I've pulled out in meetings before, so.
That's good. That's good.
As well.
You're welcome. That update has been long coming. It's the first update since 2016, so it's been a while.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Painter, do you have anything?
I do not. Just thank you for your presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, our second presentation tonight is the annual Public Safety Pension Board update by Kris.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for all that you do. We really appreciate it. Obviously, this wouldn't be such a great place to live if it wasn't for everything you guys do, so really appreciate it. Every time we have a meeting, I try to convince Kurt to deliver this presentation, but I haven't got him to do it yet. So maybe one of these days we'll get him up here to deliver this presentation. But as you can see there, I haven't seen this presentation in a while, so if I stumble on a few things, my apologies. I think this was initially scheduled back in April. So if I miss a few things, my apologies. Our board members, we're still staying strong with our same board members here for a couple years now. I think I've been on the board for about 7 years, and even having a background in this, I will say that I still learn something. I'm still learning about this stuff. So having gone to some of the chapter or some of the meetings around the state, I found that some of the people that are in this volunteer role have done it for 20 or 30 years. So it's pretty remarkable. So as far as the plan is concerned, historically, I feel like we've been doing pretty well. Obviously, we've had a lot of growth in the number of participants in the plan, but on both sides. So as of 2023, from back in 2003 when the plan was just 1.8 million, now we're north of 20. So it's growing pretty good. I think you guys are going to be in good shape, hopefully. But seems to be on the right track here. As of September 30th, our valuation was just over $26 million with 41 members. Employee contributions, I mean, you guys can read the numbers there. We had a decent year in with the plan. You'll see later, where we are relative to our funding rates and ratios. But you can kind of see what the village contribution compared to the state contribution was, some of the expenses and costs. There were some things that changed, which I want to make sure that you all are aware of, just going forward for your planning for contributions and things. It's not going to be as bad. We made a few tweaks to so that some of the contributions wouldn't be as dramatic as they might have been. All right, so as far as the allocation, we're just meeting our plan goal with our allocation, making changes as necessary. You can see the allocations there on the board. I don't think I need to read them out. I think you can kind of see where they are. Obviously, the biggest problem that we've experienced has been our real estate fund. You'll see that here shortly on what's going on there. That fund has been underperforming dramatically since I've been on the board. We've been trying to get out of it. So we're trying our best to get out of that, and you'll see here in a minute what that looks like. All right, so quarterly, annual, or fiscal year to date, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. You can see where our percentiles are for each of our different funds and our different allocations relative to our peers, other pensions around the state. We're pretty well right in the middle. We've kind of done a little bit better over the last few years. So we try to stay as positive as we can. See there a couple of the funds, especially on the fixed income and the real estate side. You see the 100th percentile and the 93rd percentile in real estate. Obviously, those are the problem funds that we've been trying to make a change with. But it's obviously slow to make those changes. We've been trying to liquidate the position with the real estate fund. That's been a problem. The problem is those assets just are not liquid. ASB is the manager, and we've put in a redemption request to have those assets returned to us so that we can find another manager for those assets. The performance has been so poor, 98th or 100th percentile, pretty much every quarter since I have been on the board for the past 7 years. Obviously, that's not where we want it to be. So what we did is, per the policy guidelines, we have allocation requirements. And because the performance has been bad, we would have been forced to put some more money into this underperforming asset that we're trying to liquidate. So what we did is I requested to bring down our guideline to 0% as a potential allocation for that fund. Otherwise, we'd be forced to move money into a fund that we're trying to liquidate. Does that make sense? A couple other things. I can't remember exactly, but I received a letter at my home from the state saying that our projected return of 7% was high. When I came on the board, it was 7.5. We brought it down to 7. Obviously, the lower we bring that projected return down, increases the village's contribution. So if I brought it down to where the state wanted it to be, you guys would probably come hunting me down because the contribution would be so significant to keep us where we need to be. So what we elected to do is bring down that assumed rate of return very, very slowly. So we're going to be bringing it down just 5 to 10 basis points per year to come in line with what the state wants us to be at. I asked our actuaries, they said we're not too far out of line. We are better funded than most of the other plans that he works with, so that's a good thing. You're probably aware that the police chief and the assistant police chiefs were permitted to join the pension plan, and they'll be going through what it takes for them to make their contributions, transfer their assets to do so. All right, so as far as the real estate discussion here, I just went over most of those details here. It's very, very illiquid asset because most of the assets that they hold in the fund are large buildings, large shopping centers, large skyscrapers, large commercial buildings, industrial buildings. Selling them, it just doesn't happen quickly like you can trade a stock. It might take some time, and we don't want them to sell it at bargain basement prices, or else our value is going to decline. So we have requested a full redemption of it, and we have gotten back very, very little so far. Couple $1 million there, and I think we've only gotten back a few thousand. So we're trying to make that change. All right. As far as the actuary report, relative to our peers, relatively low contribution rate for the village. Plan is fully funded. And as you can see there, and as mentioned in the previous slide, we did bring that assumed rate of return to 6.95 from 7%. So here's the good news. As of September of last year, we are 101.9% funded. So that's a good thing. You can see there what the contribution rates are as a percentage of payroll, 15 and 20%. No changes in benefits. I don't know if that's true anymore, but as of September 30th, yeah, I guess that would be true. Actually, I'm going to come back to that one because I want to touch on this one right here. There is a new mortality table in the state of Florida, as you may be aware, which is going to be implemented. I forget exactly when. Like I said, it's been a few months since I looked at this presentation. The mortality tables do account for slightly longer life expectancies, which would increase contributions because that would mean longer time of pension payments. So that's one of the reasons why we elected to bring down that assumed rate of return a little bit slower, so you didn't get kind of that 1-2 punch of two things that would be hitting you with an increased contribution. Obviously, because the fund is funded, thought that would probably be a good decision. As far as the, you can see there that the difference. We'll be implementing the changes over the next 4 years to try to kind of smooth out those changes. Based on the market value, if we were using that as the basis for the contribution, this is something that you'd have to have the actuary up here to explain how this actually works. Our funding ratio would be actually slightly higher. Also good news. So all in all, funds in pretty good shape. The only real glaring problem that we continue to have is the fixed income fund and the real estate fund. It's something that I recognized when I came on board 7 years ago, and we've been trying to do what we can to get out of it, but it's slow to renew. So it's going to be a little bit longer, but other than that, that'll conclude what we have prepared.
I have 2 questions. Kris, thanks for volunteering your time. Really, everybody here in this room indirectly benefits from better investment earnings over time, so thank you. And keeping those costs down as well. I saw the cost earlier. I think you kind of answered it on the fully funded plan, that those additional dollars could be used with the increased cost of the assumption that's being reduced and mortality tables. Is that the plan, or hopefully the plan?
Well, when the new mortality tables are implemented, they will reflect longer life expectancy. So what that would mean is additional higher costs by the village, greater contributions from the village to meet the funding requirements, because there's more money required to go out on for a longer time. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, I guess my hope is that if it's 105% funded, that 5% is enough to cover the additional cost of the mortality table.
I don't know.
Okay.
when we get that, when they basically take the new mortality tables and they overlay that with the assets and the ages, then we'll know exactly. It's just too much mental math to try to
I
figure
understand. Actuary stuff as well. Okay, thank you. And then when we talk about the time frame for redemption, are we talking 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, or who knows?
Probably not 10, hopefully not 5. 1 would be great, but it's been a year and a half now, and it's slow. I mean, it's like I said, that fund, I've wanted to redeem it since, I mean, Rick, you remember that thing. Remember those conversations? It's like, why are you guys so bad at this? It's just been horrible. It's been like the very, very worst performing real estate fund in its peer group, and we can't get out of it. So we're trying. We've requested a full redemption, but so has everyone else because their performance has just been so horrible. So
Thank you. Appreciate your
not
time.
really getting any guidance from them. I mean, I think last quarter we got like a 10,000. Which, you know, if there's a couple $1 million, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Kris, thank you again. You know, that's where I got my start. With you sitting next to you, you do a great job. The whole committee does a great job. And so just, again, continue to keep up the great work. You meet on a quarterly basis, so I know it's, you don't get a lot of time to, we see something on a monthly basis, but meeting on a quarterly basis, you guys are doing a great job of staying on top of everything. So again, thank you very much for what
I
you
think
guys
two
do.
of our guys are going up to the annual conference in Orlando later this month, which I think is good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have a background in this business, and I was for maybe 7 years. I'm still clueless about a lot of it, so hopefully some of these guys will pick up some additional information.
But thanks for what the whole committee does. Please take that back to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I second that. Thank you to you and the board for volunteering your time to this. My only question was you had talking about lowering the rate of return. What is the state encouraging?
Their
Mention
rate of
it.
return was like 6.5.
6.5. Okay.
I can't remember specifically. That's the number that's stuck in my head. But what the actuaries are telling me is that they don't even have any pension plans with a 6.5% assumed rate of return. They're all kind of right around. I don't know if that's just the state trying to be more conservative or what, but I think, you know, we'll get. I don't think we'll ever go to 6.5. You know, I think our ultimate goal is 6.75. Now thinking back about a year and a half, I think we split the difference between where we were and where they wanted us to be, and that's what brought us to 6.75.
Thank you.
Jeremy, I know you got something. Come on.
I'll let them answer the questions.
Councilmember Painter.
Yeah, I don't have any comments, but Kris, thank you for volunteering your time and energy, and please extend the same to the entire committee for me.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, moving on to our final presentation. The annual comprehensive final report for the year ending September 30th, 2020.
Good evening. I'm happy to be here. All right. We have our auditor here, a partner in charge, and he works for Malden Jenkins, which is a top shelf auditing firm, regional auditing firm, and he does a really fine job for us. His name is Wade Sansbury, and without further ado, I do have a couple of paper books if anybody wants them.
No, thanks.
Good reading.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Mayor, council members, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I have a brief presentation for you all. I won't go through it pretty quickly. If you have any questions, just feel free to jump right on in. There we go. So the first couple slides are just some information about Malden Jenkins. I won't go over all that. We've kind of gone through this with you all before. But as Jeff mentioned, we are a large regional firm here in the Southeast. We serve about 730 total governments, including the village. And then we'll just jump right in. The village does prepare the annual comprehensive financial report. This report is more than what the state requires, so you all should be commended for doing that, going above and beyond the minimum standards. And also the village yourself, your staff prepares that document, which is a very uncommon thing in my line of work, so that's very good. Within the ACFR itself, it's got a lot more information, a lot of historical information that you would not see in a regular just financial statement. The financial statements we want to remind you are the village's responsibility and representation. Our responsibility was to perform an audit and then to express an opinion on that audit. We have done so, and we've expressed an unmodified opinion. This is a clean opinion, the type of opinion that you wish to receive each and every year. And just real briefly, the village had a really good overall strong result of operations. We had a positive change of about $6.5 million for the year, so very good overall. In the back of the report, we have what we call our Yellow Book report, as well as potentially sometimes a single audit report. This year, we had no findings, no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies. So once again, the village's finance department, Jeff, Tatiana, all of their group did a great job of taking care of your books and records on your behalf, and they certainly do a great job in helping us get through the overall audit process. So we'd like to thank them for all of their hard work and efforts. This year, you all did not receive or spend in excess of $750,000 in federal or state awards, so we were not required to do a state or federal single audit. The next couple of slides are just required communications. We always do those for you all in a written format. Those are also in what we call our AD&A document. The only thing there I would just mention is that the village was required to implement GASB 100 this year. We're all the way up to 100. It's kind of hard to believe. It had really no effect on your overall financial statements. Then lastly, I would want to just mention that we are independent with regards to the village. It's something that we take very, very seriously. I just want to reiterate that here. Then I've just got some very high-level information about the village for the year into 2024 as compared to 2023 on the very next slide. Spending per resident came out at just under $3,200 per resident. The general fund balance ended the year with about $8.8 million in total. It was about just a little under 10% increase over prior year. Your overall debt per resident came down to about $1,280. You do have about 101 total employees as of the end of the year, and this is all comparative to 2023, where we had spending per resident of about $2,800, only about 95 employees as of end of 23, and about $1,400 in debt per resident. The next slide is just a pie chart of the general fund revenues for the year, the majority of which are obviously coming from your general fund property taxes, about $11.7 million. The next slide shows where those revenues go, a majority of which is into public safety, which is very common. That's something that we see pretty much everywhere, and that's very indicative of your annual expenditures. The general fund balance history over the last 5 years, gradually increasing. That's overall, again, a strong fund balance for the end of the year. When it comes to your enterprise funds, this is just something I like to make sure that we're always looking at and thinking about. Your operating revenues should exceed your operating expenditures. When I see that you all are charging enough services or charging for those services enough to cover the cost of operations. The water fund clearly is in that category. Stormwater and recycling are a little bit kind of break even almost. So you just want to watch that to make sure that those are adequate to cover those costs of operations in the future. This slide just shows your revenues compared to 2023 as they ended in 24. Same thing with your overall expenses, 24 to 23. Then, like I mentioned earlier, there is the AD&A, our auditor's discussion analysis, a lot of good information there, all of the required communications. If we had any kind of findings or recommendations for improvement, the details would be there. Again, we had none this year. We also list out all of the upcoming GASB standards and pronouncements that are out there. GASB 101 will be applicable for you all next year. It's regarding your compensated absences that could increase your overall liabilities in your implementation of that. So it's something that you all need to pay attention to and work toward getting that information prepared for us, because it's going to need to be provided to us as of 9/30/24 as well as 9/30/2025 for next year, because there's potential for a restatement in that implementation. And that's really all that I had. Do you all have any any questions for me?
Thank you, Wade. Council, open up the floor.
One question for you. You said GASB 101 next year, compensated absences. Are you talking about employee absences that you're taking a look at the activity for the year?
That's right. It's your liabilities for any unpaid or unused vacation time or sick leave, compensated time, that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Nothing. Thanks, Wade.
I don't have anything either. Thank you for the thorough presentation, and thank you again to the finance department for all the hard work. Going through the booklet. It's for all the finance jargon. If that's not your background, it is very understand. You can read it and really understand what's going on there. It's really transparent. Thank you so much for putting that together. Councilmember Painter.
Nothing for me. Thank you, Wade.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to communications from citizens. Lori, do we have any cards?
Yes, Valerie Murphy. Good evening. First, let me say I think the village has done a great job. I've lived here for 35, it'll be 36 years in October. And I live at 344 Venus, which is literally across the street. I can hear the fountain when I stand in my front yard. I don't know if there's anyone here representing Public Works, but in all my time here, let me just say this, they have mowed the swale. Suddenly, they're not mowing the swale. I've received no notification. No one's talked to me about it. And there was a time, it might have been 10 years, when the village had put some plantings in the swale. And there was a new public works director. And he was kind enough to call me and ask me if I wanted any of those plants. Were any of those plants mine? And I was out of town at the time, but I called him back and I said, no, the village put them there. You can do whatever you want with them. But I'm really disappointed that suddenly the grass is about this high. And I, as I said, I've received no communication regarding that. Is there anyone here who can address that this evening?
There is. Our public works director is sitting here, and if the manager is okay with it and they'd be willing, you guys could step outside of the chambers and connect and see what's going on. And then Doug and the manager can report back to council.
Thank you, Mayor.
Is that okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
For coming.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great. Any other comment cards for items that aren't on the agenda? Any other public comment for items that are not on the agenda? Okay, moving on to communications from council. Council?
I do have one comment, Mayor.
Yes.
I had the opportunity to tour a medical marijuana facility called Grow Healthy, who has proposed to open up a location here in Tequesta. It's actually a Palm Beach County property. However, I was able to tour that with the regional manager. They have about 30 stores total, majority in Florida. And I was able to kind of check out the operation, talk to them, why Tequesta, what their goals were, and get more of a feeling of who they were. And I can tell you from the storefront, is professional. It almost looked more of an organic grocery store than anything. I know some of our residents were concerned it would look more like a smoke shop or vape shop, and it did not have that outside look. The inside was professional, organized, and my question of why Tequesta, why did you choose here? And they said, well, we have a large amount of deliveries coming to Tequesta, so we decided just to open up a business location instead. And I found that interesting, but it makes sense for business. And then I talked to the HOA of Harbor Shore, right next door on the street where the business would be. And they didn't have any direct concerns, but they wanted to understand the business more. What would it look like? Who would be the customers? How many customers, and information like that. So I was able to relay some of that to the HOA president, and they asked that Grow Healthy just understood their concerns and would like to see a design for the inside, the outside of the area. And Grow Healthy was happy to take any suggestions from the residents on that street or our residents in general. I left it at that with just neutral conversation, but thought we could build from there, especially the residents that are directly on that street. So it was a productive conversation and tour, and I'll be looking for future feedback, and we'll see how the proposal goes through Palm Beach County.
Thank you, Jason. And my comment this evening echoes along that same topic. I was in a meeting with Mayor of Palm Beach County, and this topic came up. I was not why I was there. I was there for a professional issue, not village, but she brought this up and just wanted our residents to know that they don't see any way around this, that it's by right and that it's going to be approved, most likely. That was her opinion. Again, it has not gone before, hasn't gone through the whole process yet, but that's what we're hearing. So the steps you took, Jason, are wonderful to hear that somebody that it's going to be in the village but not part of the village is willing to work with our residents' concerns. So it's coming. There's nothing that we can do about it, unfortunately. It's going to be administratively approved, it sounds like, at the county level. It's not 100% guaranteed at this point, but that's the direction that I was given on that. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Councilmember Painter?
I do not have anything this evening. Thank you.
And then on the same topic, I also spoke with Mayor Marino. We received a letter from the DeQuesta Civic Association in regards to the Grow Healthy, and at a minimum asking if the county would adopt some portions of our overlay district. And, same response. The commission's probably not even going to see the applications by right use, which means just like here, it just goes to the building department. And then the only way for unincorporated parcels, there's other unincorporated parcels, they're residential currently. I don't know. On US 1, an Old Dixie, on the very north end, I don't know what the official zoning is, if it's residential, which wouldn't apply to our overlay districts. But if it had any mixed use, potential for mixed use, it would. But the only way to get those, any portions of our overlay district is if those properties are annexed. So unfortunately, it does not seem like there is much we can do at the county level, and there will be no interest in them adopting our overlay district. But yeah, I know our staff has been in constant contact with Palm Beach County staff, and I know as of last week, the permit was still under review. Do you have any other update or? Still under review. So staff will keep in touch with the county as well, and we'll stay up to date on that.
Mayor, if I may add one more comment I had written here.
Yeah, of course.
In the medical marijuana facility as well, if our citizens are concerned, I'd be up for a discussion on prohibiting any other medical marijuana facilities within a certain amount of range, 500 feet, 1,000 feet, whatever it may be, which would limit the village in general. We did something similar on Cypress with the private car museum or private museum. So I know this might be the first time you're hearing that, but might be something that the council could consider.
Okay, yeah, we could potentially workshop that. Right now, they're only allowed on C3, I believe. And is there a radius thing too with certain, not from the location of a facility, but there is with like location to a school, or aren't there certain?
And there's some state statutes. I think it's 500 feet within a school.
Yeah, but not from like another
But
facility.
that could be something we could consider or to have a discussion about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, anything else? No, thank you. All right, moving on to standing reports. Village Attorney.
Keith sends his regrets. We let him go out of town every once in a while. But it's an honor anytime I get to be with the council. I don't have any comments for you this evening other than to wish you all a great upcoming summer, and same to the residents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, Village Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The county-wide transportation master plan consultant selection that we've been talking about just got an email not too long ago that they will be hearing that at this June 18th Board of County Commissioners zoning public hearing. We have a budget workshop scheduled for next Monday, June 16th. We will be closed for Juneteenth, June 19th. We have a collective bargaining agreement with PBA on June 19th as well. And then we have Village Council workshop on June 30th. We did meet with, and this is for all of council, it's still pretty preliminary, but we have met with JTAA. They have a mutual interest in updating the fields to make them playable. We've had several conversations with them over time. At this point, we do have a couple residents that are willing to maybe donate to improving the fields as they are today. And so the mayor and I met with those residents and JTA. And so we'll, as we have those future discussions, that could come back in front of council as, if there's any decisions to be made, but we're kind of exploring that option at this point. So that's just more of an FYI at this point. And with that, you have my report.
Councilmember Painter?
I have no questions. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Police Department.
Evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Before you have my monthly report, a couple of highlights. We continue the civilian firearms training, the aggressive driving grant enforcement. That's the FDOT grant that we received for $30,000 for enforcement. We continue to offer fingerprinting services to our residents of no charge. Last Saturday, we celebrated our police awards. Thank you all. I know, Mary, you were out of time, but thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. It was a great time. Weekly Explorers meetings, we continue doing that. And the other thing is, during the Memorial Day weekend, we had our officer, Detective Loney, out on the waterways. And if you saw by the report, he had 1,250 contacts. The waterways were very busy during that time. We didn't have any issues. Just a large crowd as far as, the no-wake zone. We were giving out instructions with that. And we'll be out there for the July 4th weekend as well. So, as well as the message board. If you all remember last year, people were parking all over the place up there along Beach Road. So this year, I think we did a pretty good job with messaging not to park there. We didn't have any citations or issues. That's my report.
Any comments or questions for the chief?
Just comment, you guys did a great job with that reduced speed after Cato's, because that's a tough one when you're used to hammering it right after, and barely anybody's doing it anymore. And that's phenomenal, being just that recent that it changed. Great job.
Yeah, that's where most of his contacts came from. So he was out there.
Between 57 and 59. Thank you, Chief.
Councilmember Painter?
No comments. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Fire Department.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. We had a very busy month, lots of meetings as usual. It was also EMS week last month, and the village was very well recognized. We received the incident or call of the year. You can see the picture. We'll scroll to it. So we were very well recognized here in Tequesta. We also had a nominee for Paramedic of the Year. So it was a great day. It was at the Wycliffe Country Club, and Tequesta was front and center. So it was great. I was very impressed with this. Was all done prior to my arrival, these nominations. Chief Trube had done them, but I was very proud of the individuals. We completed some training for STAR down at the college. That went very, very well. We did some multi-jurisdictional with Palm Beach County and Martin County as well. And I attended the Governor's Hurricane Conference and got to network quite a bit to get the emergency management side going and our hurricane preparedness. If you've seen social media, we've had a big presence on social media with the hurricane prep. We also finished our physical ability test for the year, and our life scan is done for the year, so that's good. Some housekeeping stuff, getting that completed. As Chief Medina said, we had our awards banquet. Thank you for those who made it. I really appreciate it. It was a great night. I will get better at hosting that, I promise. We had our bring our child to school event. There was a picture on that as well. And we did receive a $5,000 grant for CPR family training and Stop the Bleed kits which definitely helps towards our pub ed side of the house. We had a couple residential fires and one commercial fire last month. There is some pictures of that as well. The crews did a fantastic job. They made great stops. These were in the evening, and working with Palm Beach County, they did fantastic. So I was very proud of them. They trained very hard, and they impress me every day. So with that, do you have any questions for me?
Council, any comments or questions?
One comment on that residential garage cut. Good job.
Yeah, they did great. It's the first thing I noticed. I said, "Wow, nice job." So yeah, it was perfect.
Great job, Chief.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good night.
Councilmember Painter?
Nothing. Thank you, Chief.
Okay. Thanks, Chief. All right, Utilities Department.
Hi, good evening. Marjorie Craig, Utilities Department Director. It's quite a lengthy report this month. Seem to be echoing here. So I will just hit a few highlights. We've got a lot going on here with a lot of these projects are out to bid or have just been bid. We awarded the filter media replacement project, and our notice to proceed was issued on June 9th. The membrane replacement project, our pre-bid is set for Friday the 13th, tomorrow. And we've submitted our Beach Road loan application to DEP and met that timeline. Martin County project, the County Line Road Bridge Replacement Project, there was a field meeting held this week, and there's been a permit snafu of some type between Martin County and the submittals, and it will be delayed now a little bit until the estimated time of completion, instead of being August, it's expected to be October, November, and then we'll keep you informed as to and the village residents and fire and police if there's going to be any disruption over that bridge due to the construction, the directional bores for this project. But right now, the permitting project. So what else? We've got bids posted for water main number 1. Also the concentrate pipe relocation. We're supposed to mobilize on that this month, and we're in contact with DOT to see if we can get in there and get that done. And they still have not given us the okay. As you may recall, this was supposed to be done a year ago, and they've delayed it until they told us this June, and June's fast evaporating. So we keep reaching out to them to see if we can get that done this year. And with that, do you have any questions? You've got the update, a lot of updates as a part of your package with the projects and also with our dashboard.
Marjorie, Council, any comments or questions?
No comments. Thank you, Marjorie.
No, thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you.
Councilmember Painter? Thank you. All right, on to the regular agenda under old business. Item number 15, consider approval of the amendment grant agreement with the village and the state DEP department for planning services at the West Park.
Thank you, Mayor. As you guys may recall, in March, we approved a grant agreement with the state of Florida to receive $681,767 in matching grant for Tequesta Park. In addition, we also approved a Kimley Horn agreement, basically for the planning services Tequesta Park. We knew way back when we were received appropriation that the total amount was $340. We originally asked for $681. So when we got the grant agreement for $681, we were actually, pleasantly surprised. We don't know what happened, but we were accepting those monies. As we couldn't get, after the council signed that agreement, we sent it to the state. We could not get the signed agreement back. And so we started asking some questions of higher-ups. Higher-ups went in and did an audit of that and decided that it was done improperly. And so the true amount should have been $340. And so what you have in front of you is an amended agreement, or the true agreement for $340, which is always what we believe the appropriation was for. So with that, our match is $53.47, up to $340,000 matched by the And so we do have an agreement with Kimley Horn that we've already approved. So if we approve that, and unless council has a direction, we will have to allocate additional $54,000 to cover that grant agreement with 100% funds. And I know I've sent you guys the breakdown of that. So what you're agreeing to tonight is the grant agreement. But if you guys want to give direction after you guys make a motion or decide how you guys want to handle the grant agreement, if you guys want to give direction on how we want to handle the Kimley Horn, if we want to proceed and allocate additional 54,000, or we can go back to the drawing board and do 90% plans, and we'll need an additional $14,000 to do 90% plans. So I'll take any direction from council that you have. I think that's it.
And just to be clear for record, I know if we went back to kind of, which was Kimley Horn's original proposal before we revised it, for 100%, I know there were some services that we took out and we're going to do on our own. It was like surveying. There was 3 things. So if we went back to 90%, those would still happen. They would just be under Kimley Horn again, and we wouldn't be doing those independently.
That's right.
So those services wouldn't go away. We just basically would do 90% instead of 100% plans. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, so the agenda item is for the amended DEP contract, so I'll open up the conversation on that if there's any comments.
I support the 100% plans as far as going forward. I want to see those plans finish, and I'm looking forward and crossing fingers that one day we can make that park titled our own. And so I'd like to continue with that.
Okay, for the, can we focus on the DEP, the amended DEP contract first, and then we can talk
The
about?
340.
Yeah,
Sorry, I apologize.
no, that's fine.
No, I support accepting the 340 as written in there.
As well.
Councilmember Painter?
Yes, agreed.
Okay, and then, so you, on the Kimley Horn, should we discuss that in any other matters, or do we need?
Let's do it in any other matter.
Okay, we'll table that for any other matter since it's not technically the agenda. Okay, Lori, are there any comment cards? Okay, any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Any second?
Second, sorry.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to new business, item 16, consider approval of an agreement for fleet maintenance and repair services with 3 companies.
Good evening. Our previous contract with for fleet maintenance and repair has expired. And so we went out for competitive bid and we received bids from 3 local shops. Selection committee was myself, Chief Gus, and Wayne Cameron, our building official. After reviewing the 3 contracts, we decided to award or recommend award to the 3 contractors. This gives us some flexibility based on each repair shop's capabilities and also provides a good turnaround time for us with over 80 vehicles. Apex Garage is right here on US 1 Bridge Road, very local to us. St. Lucie Battery and Tires in Hope Sound, we had a contract previously with them, a multi-year contract that was competitively bid. They provide great service and they come in handy for our heavy equipment and trucks as well. We'll come on site and work on our vehicles where most repair shops will not do that. And then a good portion of our fleet vehicles are also Ford pickup trucks, and that's why we decided as well to recommend Alpaca Ford. So that's our recommendation tonight. It does not guarantee work for any specific repair shop. We can still, at our discretion, take our vehicles to any shop that we need to. But this will give us the flexibility in our fleet. It's a 5-year contract with fixed pricing, and we have the discretion to extend that contract for an additional 5 years. So potentially we have a 10-year contract at fixed rates.
Thank you. Council, any comment?
Yes, Doug, thank you for being thorough with this. I read the application. It's probably filtering itself, but as an extremely thorough application, I appreciate the extra efforts.
Thank you.
Doug as well, thank you, and I'm glad we were able to get somebody within the village as one of our providers. Glad they're all local, close for convenience, but great to have somebody, Apex, in the village, so thank you.
A quick question, this might be more for legal, but I know with the previous company we had an agreement with, there was a little bit of confusion, not so much on our end, on their contract ending. And if I look at in the contract, 3-term termination notice, I mean, the way I would interpret this, and again, I think it's more of a legal question, it is good for 5 years. There's the option to extend it for another 5 years. And then there is a sentence that says this agreement may be terminated by either party upon 30 days written notice. To me, the termination would just be if we terminated it prior to the expiration date of the contract. Or do we need to provide notice if we're not if we're not taking the 1-year option or don't intend to?
No, so you only need to provide the notice if you're terminating the contract.
Or the term's over. Okay, so we're covered. I don't know for transparency and confusion in parties if that should be clarified a little more. But like I said, just to avoid confusion down the road, especially with external party, if maybe that could be written differently so it's clear that if the contract we don't technically have to provide them advance notice of that. Correct?
Absolutely right. I mean, and it does say extensions of the contract requires.
It doesn't really say anything either way.
Okay, we can absolutely add in some clarifying language.
Okay.
Yeah.
If council's in favor. It's just for clarity for us, so it's very clear, like, when the contract's up, it's up. We don't have any other obligation.
Mayor, we did extend notification to the vendor that the contract was terminating.
Right, well, I know,
Right.
and it's what we did, the whole thing.
Right.
So I was like, if it's actually written in here, then I feel
Yeah.
like I don't believe we were wrong. I saw the
Right.
emails. They didn't get them.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's in the contract, it's clear, and, but again, maybe that's a one sentence, like an easy clause, just so, avoid that confusion down the road.
Okay.
That doesn't happen again. Is council in favor of that?
Yes, I am.
Does it pose a problem that we've already executed the contract? I mean,
Oh, have we executed? Okay.
No.
we're not? Isn't it
I
signed?
think I have to sign these, right? Or no? Does Jeremy?
Yes.
It's
you have-
okay.
You have to sign the contract.
I mean, we could approve as is and just, like I said, for future, because this is a template we use all the time.
Yes.
You could direct us. You could approve this amendment of.
Bring it back.
And that's gonna,
I personally don't see any reason to change anything now, like the mayor said, but in the future, if you want to add some additional language, we've already reviewed, but we could beef up the,
It's not urgency. Like I said, it's just for more transparency and to maybe avoid confusion like that. Just like good practice, right? So oh yeah,
now
we
you
can
know
do
for
that.
future.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
Great.
Nothing additional. Doug, thank you. And I like the idea of having the option to choose amongst us.
Right. Lori, any comment cards? Any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So move.
Okay, agenda item 17, consider approval of purchase of a electrician's vehicle for the utilities department.
Good evening, Marjorie Craig, Utilities Department. This agenda item is a recommendation to approve through the Sheriff's Association contract, so it's leverage. This vehicle was budgeted and approved by council in the fiscal year 25 budget for 85, up to 80 with the vendor, and it will replace the existing unit, which is 20 that we have achieved with the existing vehicle. And if you've seen this vehicle, and I remember last year we took a look at it, we were trying to get it, but we did have to spend $5,000 last year, and it keeps, I mean, it's starting to be estimate of work that needs the utility body, which is a very useful vehicle for components and things that an electrician often works with. Do you have any questions about it? I know we have had some gnashing of teeth to make sure that was, that particular brand, it's either comparable or this is actually less than the vehicle according to the vendor.
About the maker of the model, but the decision within your
Thank you.
Councilmember Painter?
No question.
There is usually a section that says any other matters, and it is not on our agenda. I assume here for some reason.
Just board discussion.
Okay. So the two marijuana to speak, correct? And there is a 500 distance from certain other facilities, but not the same facility. So I wonder if before we workshop that, if we want to workshop it, it might, has legal done a white paper on that yet? I can't remember.
We have provided an opinion in the past, several years back. We could certainly provide something updated if you wanted to request us to do so.
What was your intent to ban them all together, or?
Impact. And so, multiple in a big city is one thing, but multiple here I don't think is needed. And I know there's a little bit of concern from the residents, but not really sure what the concern is yet. And so I'd like to monitor that or get more feedback. But if you drive Okeechobee Boulevard and you go west of 95, and I was shocked because now I'm looking, right? I think there were 7 before Military Trail. And obviously it's a new business, it's trending, it's profitable. And so I just didn't want to see multiple in such a small area. Just my personal opinion, I really haven't heard any true resident concern, like identify. More of just, hey, what is this? This is a new thing. What is it really? And those discussions are out there, but I'd rather be ahead of it than waiting for multiple applications all of a sudden.
I've heard from some residents, more from an aesthetic standpoint too, I think is their concern. But Vice Mayor, do you have anything to add?
If we could, I wouldn't have a concern workshopping it because, or getting an opinion first, because if there's a way that we could limit that, separation between similar units would be great. Because I don't want any more in the villages when technically isn't in the village, but I don't want any more. Personally, I don't want any more in the village, so.
Councilmember Painter?
Yeah, I think we should workshop it. It's something new. I would agree. I mean, you head north up US 1, not too far, and you'll run across 3 of them within like probably a half mile of each other. So yeah, it's something we should get ahead of. I agree with Councilmember French. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so I think maybe first step is you want to update your opinion and then look at it in the eyes of separation.
Sure.
Okay, and we can see where that comes and then go from there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And then the other item was the Kinley Horn contract that we already approved for DeQuesta Park. The options were to, and I don't know, there has to be a budget amendment either way, I guess, correct? And would this be something that, I don't think we'd have to workshop it, it would just come to council again?
Yeah, I mean, if it stays the way it is and we approve the agreement, we've already approved it, and I mean, I'll get Jeff's opinion, but I think we just do an end-of-the-year adjustment because we've already approved the agreement, but we'd have to do an end-of-the-year amendment either way. If we bring it back, the 90% plan, same thing, approve the agreement, we'll do the end-of-the-year amendment.
Mayor Molly, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
So you had said something, you said under 100%, we were doing like this, there was 3 services, but under 90%. Can you explain that one more time? I just wanted to make sure I got that.
Yeah, there was, let me see if I can pull them up real quick. Because originally we got to the 100% plans because we were getting more money than we thought, and we wanted to utilize that. And even going to 100%, we were still under our original allocation of 250. So now we're going to be over the 250. The services that we had pulled out of Kinley Horn's contract, they were going to do 100% plans, and we were going to do these 3 things independently. Was a survey, geotech, and environmental, which I think is mostly like the Gopher Tortoise and any other environmental stuff we need to do. So if we were to keep it as that, it's the 54,000, almost 55,000 additional we have to allocate over our original budget for this year. The other option would be going back to kind of Kinley Horn's original proposal, which was 90% plans, and then they would cover the survey, geo, and environmental would go back under them. We would not do those independently, and then we would still be over budget and have to allocate another 14,000.
So on top of the 54, another 14.
No,
or
it's
just
54,
14?
it's 54 or 14. So it's keep the contract as is. We have to amend the budget by almost 55,000. And then it's, go back to the original proposal at the 90% plans, and we only have to allocate 14,000.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You said you were in favor of 100%.
Favor the 100%. Behind it was, I want to move forward as right now as much as we can towards Sequesta Park in its future. And again, if one day maybe we can title that our own, it'd be great. But also, my assumption is locking in that price. If we do go forward with plans, those services are going to cost more down the line. That was locking it in now.
I have a different opinion than my colleague. I would like to see us go back to the original 90%, only because there's a bunch of still unknowns out there that I'm not totally comfortable with from a state perspective. This 340 comes from the state, the 250 really comes from the one penny sales tax or the surtax fund, so it's nothing coming from ad valorem from our residents. But I would hate to take 54,000, almost 55,000, when we don't even know what the end result will be in this, if we're going to be able to even do these improvements. I mean, we're doing these improvements, but do we know if the state will allow us to do what we're doing? With all the narrative that happened last year with the state parks and what they will agree to and not agree to. So I'm willing to say use the 14,000 to get the 90% bid, and then we'll have to see what happens again, because I'm not convinced that spending $55,000 of ad valorem taxes that came from our pockets is really the best use of what we need to do at this time. So I'm in favor of 90% plans at 14,000.
Councilmember Painter.
What is there a significant cost or, time impact if we went with the 90% proposal as far as seeing this thing actually go into action? Like,
We would have to bring this back next month, the updated agreement.
Okay.
So you're talking about a 30-day delay or whatever it is to get to the next council meeting.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I just think given the amount of the delta between the 14 and the 54 or whatever it was, it's a lot of money, and I agree there is some uncertainty out there. I too really want to see that park be something special for us one day. But there's just so much uncertainty. So I think right now I'm in favor of going back to the 90% at the 14,000.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I align with Councilmember Painter and the Vice Mayor. You have great points. It is going to cost more down the road to finish those plans. But I know, we originally when we said the 250, that was a big chunk. Really hate going over budget if it's not absolutely necessary on anything, right? So, and we are going over budget just with going back to the 90%. So yeah, I would prefer to go back to the 90%, keep pushing ahead. I mean, I've been a big advocate of Sequesta Park improvements since I've been on council, so that's not gonna stop. But yeah, we're already gonna go over budget a little bit now. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I think consensus is go back to 90%, so the action would be bring the amended agreement to us next month. Okay. All right, any other matters?
Oh, no, none for me, thank you.
Sorry, none.
Councilmember Painter?
None for me, thank you.
With that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Patrick, for calling and zooming in.
Well, it keeps going in and out, but I think I heard thank you. All right. Well, hey, thank you for allowing me to zoom in. I appreciate it. See you soon.
So you guys know we're getting these mics. That's the one thing still left. We're going to get buttons, so you turn them on, turn them off, and that way they'll stay hot.